Hello, everyone, and welcome to this series, this new episode of Music Talks, the irregularly organized series of events around music research, music professionals, and musicians themselves, organized by the Rotterdam Popular Music Studies group of Erasmus University Rotterdam. And my name is Julian Schaap. I'm an assistant professor in the sociology of music, and I have the honor to kind of host this evening here together with you online, because of course, due to all the corona measures, we cannot do this in an offline version with an audience as we would usually do. So for those who don't know anything about Music Talks, it's a series of events where we try to make academics meet people in the professional field of music and musicians themselves and all kinds of people in between. We've hosted events about gender inequality in music, about race and ethnicity, about the importance of scenes and subcultures. And also in 2015, we hosted an event about the rise of festivals and festivalization. Of course, now that we return with this series of Music Talks, we can see that one thing isn't present anymore, and that's live music, particularly festivals. So we're first going to start with a talk by my colleague, Brit Zwartjes, who is a cultural sociologist working at our department at the Erasmus University Rotterdam, and who started doing her research on festivals a year ago, before Corona hit, trying to understand what is the value of music festivals as meeting grounds for people. And she, of course, had to move her schedule around, had to change her ideas, and now instead is exploring the role of festivals in these new kind of online environments and what organizers are doing at this moment to make these festivals happen. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce to you Brit Zwartjes of Erasmus University Rotterdam.
Hi, Julian, and thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm Brit Zwartjes, and I'm doing research into music festivals. And I started doing this research as part of a larger project, a European project. Of course, over the past couple of months, lots of things had changed for me. I started my PhD research in August 2019, which means that about 2 months into my research, I had talked to a couple of festival organizers, everything changed, and I got to follow what happened to music festivals in Rotterdam firsthand. Well, I'm doing this with a couple of researchers. We're a European-wide research team called Festiversities. And at first, we started our project with the idea that we wanted to respond to this bigger trend of festivalization with our earlier edition of Music Talks, as Julian already said. What festivalization basically means is that festivals have become increasingly popular as a means to consume and experience culture. It has become like incredibly trendy to say that your event is a festival. For example, even a conference could be considered a festival, even though some people might disagree. We then thought, well, this actually shows how important music festivals are, and we wanted to research them as meeting spaces. So Pauke Berkers and I here in the Netherlands, in Rotterdam specifically, are looking at how festivals can be spaces where people from diverse backgrounds meet. And other research in our other contexts are looking at similar questions of cultural diversity in festivals in their specific context. And then I'm talking about Poland, Denmark, the UK, and Ireland. Of course, everything changed. With Corona, festivals changed the way we see festivals. But before I want to go into the value and loss of festivals, I want to talk to you about what festivals actually are. Because we all have an idea of what festivals are. It's like meeting friends, it's gathering with a large group, it's dancing in the rain, it's with your feet in the mud, it's experiencing new art, new culture, and it's about this specific feeling. It's about experiencing the new, it's about letting go of your day-to-day worries. It's about that feeling that you get when you're at a festival. Of course, as researchers do, we put this in more formal terms. So here I have a definition which I won't read out loud, but what we have to take from this definition is that festivals can be seen as a ritual, as a thing that reoccurs every year at a specific time. It has a specific time and a specific place. Moreover, it has a communal function, so people come together to celebrate a specific event and a specific music together. Well, then, as I already said, everything changed to go back to the 21st of April, about a month after the lockdown started in the Netherlands. It was announced that the festival season wasn't going to happen in 2020, with the words of our Prime Minister. That means there will be no Pinkpop, no Vierdaagse, and no Zwarte Cross, as many other festivals. Well, my question then was, and the other researchers in our project also asked the same question, what does that actually mean to organizers and audiences alike? Well, what you see here, these 4 categories are based on my findings of the past couple of months and the questions we started to ask ourselves. So to rephrase the question, it's not only about what we value, but by seeing what we lost, we actually started to realize what we value about festivals most and what we want to see back again in the future. So first of all, we have the loss for society and audiences. So people have lost this ritual, the sense of things reoccurring every year. This also has to do with, I remember some organizers and audiences telling me, so festivals are like Christmas or birthday celebrations, or even the musical you do at the end of primary school in the Netherlands if you grew up here. Festivals are also about performing and rediscovering your identity, about showing who you are or who you want to be seen as. So especially for people who don't get to express their identities on a day-to-day basis, festivals as a way to perform your identity have been lost, at least for this year. And then lastly, as I already talked about, festivals can also be seen as meeting spaces. So people from diverse cultural backgrounds can meet at a festival. Different cultural groups get to mingle. Of course, this didn't happen this year. People had to stay within their own bubbles more and more. So this ritual and communal function of festivals for society and audiences has been lost for this festival editions. Then there's also been a fear that we will lose a sense of place. Festivals are often seen as an expression of local and cultural identities. So regional identities are expressed within a festival. Festivals are often seen as a city's business cards. So what I've often heard in the past couple of months is that people fear that Rotterdam, for example, in this case, will be thrown back in time and maybe even will lose its cool edge. Then there's also been losses to the cultural industries. Most of you might have heard this by now, but lots of organizers have already seen and fear the impact of the crisis on the cultural industries. The cultural industry, the cultural workers, the cultural sector, they are losing work, they are losing money. There's lots of cultural workers that can't continue working in the same way. They sometimes have to leave the sector altogether, which in the long term, and maybe even now, means that the built-up skills and the built-up knowledge that they have might be lost in the future, and it might be more difficult to recreate what has been lost already. Then festivals also have a positive spillover within, for example, a city. They provide work for all kinds of organizations, such as tent deliverers, sound technicians, but sometimes even bakeries who deliver the food. Those organizations also lose their work and income because of the loss of festivals this year. And as you might have already heard from the examples that I just gave, what we have mostly lost during this crisis is certainty. As sociologists of loss often say, is there's no finality to this loss. We don't know when festivals wake up and if they wake up again. When is that going to happen? Moreover, we have lost certainty as to what the sector looks like and what organizing events in a sector looks like that has been hit by Corona. With all the Corona measures put in place, people have had to change the way they think about events and organizing events. However, this is not only a sad story, this is also a story about hope, because risk and loss also come with opportunities, creativity, and all kinds of alternatives. In the past couple of months, we've already seen many digital initiatives. For example, in Poland, we saw the festival, the Popular Music Festival, Unsound. They had a digital edition, but we also saw non-digital initiatives, and we saw also hybrid editions. For example, Boomtown in the UK, which is a theatrical music festival, did an online-offline edition with all kinds of stages, putting things together to celebrate their festival. Then also in Copenhagen, Denmark, we saw Distortion, a new dance music festival, and they celebrated their festival on boats. So for that time, it was okay for people to be with 10 as a corona measure. So there could be 10 people on a boat, and the band Who Made Who and a vinyl DJ played so that people could celebrate the music festival in public. And then lastly, a little bit closer to home, we saw First Steps Rotterdam, which was a festival in September. And there were 9 festivals in Rotterdam coming together to take the first steps into the new cultural season and celebrate music and the new start together. What we see from these alternatives, of course, they help in a certain way because they provide work to artists and workers, and it helps organizers because they can organize something again. But it's not necessarily financially sustainable for most festivals. Then again, these alternatives do connect us to the past editions of festivals, and they help us see that there might be other festivals happening in the future. And that these new ideas, these alternatives also show us that there's a lot of creative and new ideas that show the importance of festivals, and that we want to keep the value of those music festivals alive. This was my talk. In a couple of minutes, we're going to have Frank Kiemenij, who is a PhD researcher at our department as well. He's also a person with diverse roles in the music sector in the Netherlands and beyond in Europe. So be back with you in a couple of minutes.
Hi, welcome everybody to this first panel discussion of the evening. My name is Frank Kiemenij. I was asked yesterday to fill in the spot of the moderator for this panel, so bear with me a little bit. I try to prepare, but some things have slipped my attention. But we have 2 great guests for the first panel, which I will introduce to you shortly. On my foremost right side is Aziz Yagoub. He's the owner of Annabelle, a pop venue here in the middle of Rotterdam, and also organizer of several festivals. And here in the center, we have Pim Kip, the director, I think, of Metropolis Festival, big free pop festival in the south of Rotterdam. Welcome, guys, and thanks for being here, first of all. My main goal for this panel is to look into the future. However, I think also, given the talk that Brit just gave, I want to start with one question that looks back a little bit. and that is about loss, because I'm really curious, both on a personal and on a professional level, and you can give one short answer on this question, is what's the biggest loss that you have experienced due to this whole crisis related to your work within the music sector? Who wants to pick up first?
Let me take this one first. I think the biggest loss for us was not doing the festival, so we had to cancel it altogether. So there was no group of people gathering in a field in the south of Rotterdam. So I think that was the biggest loss. Not have like a communal experience or a ritual, like Britt said. That was for us, I think, the main loss this year.
And personal, like.
Personally as well. You've been working year round to organize a festival, not full time. Oh, not full time, but still year round, and then have to cancel a couple of months before. That's quite a loss.
Yeah, it's a logical answer, this one, but I was trying to dig a little bit deeper. But maybe Aziz, you can elaborate on this.
Obviously not continuing with your festival. That takes almost a year to prepare in most cases. One of the losses I was confronted with was losing colleagues, seeing suppliers go bankrupt, relationships that you've been working with for 10 years or longer or so, seeing people lost in their future plans and their goals, and that's one of the biggest losses I was confronted with, is seeing people struggle, people that you work with.
Yeah, like you both your personal and your professional network, I guess, struggling. Yeah, I think I heard an analogy a little while ago about the phantom limb. It's like you lose a limb, it gets amputated, but it still like itches, it still hurts, but it's not there anymore. And that I found that a pretty decent analogy. I hope you paid attention to Britt's excellent talk just now. I was wondering maybe if you want to reflect on it a little bit, what you just heard about, for example, these four aspects of the sector, the role of festivals in society and audiences, or the cultural industry, and maybe also look a little bit into the future. Like, okay, we're here now. We lost a lot. That's what we all know. What's the next steps? What's, for example, the next steps you are taking currently, Pim?
Yeah, listening to Britt, I immediately thought of the song by Fateless. God is a DJ, of God is my DJ. This is my church. This is where I heal my soul. The ritual, the forming your identity, the expression. I think these are things that people can't do without. So we will find a form, one way or another, to express, to come together, to have a sense of, experience, live, physically or otherwise, maybe through online channels.
I read in an interview that you did with Britt, I think, prior to this panel, that you're really proud, like with Metropolis, you're in the south of Rotterdam and you reach a really diverse audience, right? It's a free festival, so the threshold is very low. And it's in a part of Rotterdam which has a bit of a different demography than here in the north part. And from my own experience as well, I think it's a really nice mixture of people. Do you think you can translate this mixture of people to, for example, a digital?
That's the big challenge we are facing right now, because I think most of these people come not because it's a festival. They can come. They can physically go there. It's free. They have a nice day. Can have something to drink, or maybe take their own drink, and just experience something in their neighborhood what they don't experience anywhere else of the rest of the year. So to grab these people to also really engage in the music, and yeah, that's going to be the big challenge for us. Yeah.
So it's engaging with the music, but I guess also engaging with each other, right?
Yeah.
So Aziz, how is it for you? I mean, all of us took our loss. We just explained what your biggest losses are. So then you regroup, right? How does that regrouping process? How does it work for you? How does it start? And where are you maybe now currently? How are you looking at it?
Well, obviously we've entered a new phase of the pandemic. So we already started preparations and regrouping, redefining our structure as a company. What did we do wrong? And basically the lesson was take a step back. Instead of organizing 20, 40 events, focus on your gems and make them grow and more valuable. And so that's one lesson we've learned. And also trying hard to get the team back together. Obviously, most people took a different journey. I had staff that are now a painter in Switzerland or writing a book, or so everybody took a different path because we've cut jobs in April, and our team shrunk by more than 60 people. So it's hard to regroup and try to get the same people back. But I think it also offers some new chances and do certain stuff differently. So we're brainstorming a lot with the time that we're having on our hands right now. And I really sincerely hope that we can pick up the pace somewhere in spring. So we're working hard to set our own goals. That's why Brit's certainty subject caught my attention. We're trying to create that certainty for our own.
Yeah. And maybe it's too early, but I'm going to ask you anyways. Are you already like in the stage of that you have like these concrete ideas or maybe changes within the structure of your company or something that you can maybe share with us?
Actually, the city of Rotterdam has been very cooperative. We've been having meetings with our city council a few times by now. We're offering plans to continue our events with rapid tests or a different method of creating a safe environment so that we don't have to wait till this whole vaccine discussion is played out. And the city of Rotterdam has been very cooperative with that. So we're focusing on the end of April, early May. Yeah, we have the European Song Festival early May in Rotterdam, which is quite a big thing. Yeah. And so hopefully with the plans that we're subsiding now and all the developments worldwide are going to offer us some solutions to pick up the pace step by step. I don't believe that, like, bomb next week there are 20,000 people in a city park, but I think there's a small gray area where we have to look and find what's possible in a safe way.
Yeah, find room to maneuver.
Yeah,
cool. And Pim, how is that for you? Because what I noticed, what you were just saying, and also you a little bit, and also what I experienced myself, but also when I speak to colleagues, is, you know, to every crisis there is a sort of a silver lining always. And a lot of these people said, like, well, after the initial shock, we had some time to reflect. And this is something we actually came to the conclusion that we missed in these last years because of the rat race of what it is to, you know, to operate in a sector like ours, which is, like, as you can probably all confirm, it's intense, right? And this moment for reflection gave insights. You know, like you were saying, you know, cherish your gems and maybe get rid of a few other ones, and also maybe incorporate some structural changes within your operation. How is that for you?
Well, for us, I think we came together and said, okay, what is it what we do and what was it what we want to do? And I think we still want to have like a big communal festival with a lot of upcoming bands and really be there for the upcoming bands and let them see what is out there that year musically. So that is one thing that we really want to do. And the engagement with people is also something that we think is really important for us, especially because we reach those people from the surrounding neighborhoods. And that is something we really want to continue. And yeah, online, like I said, that's pretty hard for us to reach those people. So we are hoping with the sneltest, I don't know what's rapid test, that we can get a group physically together again and experience new music and experience each other again.
Yeah. Okay, I both hear you say like, okay, we want to focus on reopening basically, right? And but I'm curious, are there
There's
like
no new normal? There's just
are there
normal.
fundamental changes within your practice that you kind of incorporated maybe during this time, or have you like fundamentally changed your way of thinking about certain stuff or about certain structures?
Well, we're thinking of plan B and C now, so maybe that's the big thing, is that you don't only have like one plan and that's how it's gonna go. But you have to think about, okay, because the future is so unknown now, we're not gonna know, is it 30 people, is it 100? If it's 30, what then? So yeah, that's for us, we have several scenarios in
Scenario
place.
thinking.
Yeah.
And you, Aziz?
I'm cracking my head on how to get my event insured, because
Yeah.
nobody's gonna help us out with that. But along the way, there will be some challenges. But I'm an optimist, so I believe that the same rate the pandemic hit us, I think the solutions with vaccine will go in such a fast pace that people will be ready to get back out there after 12 months of this
Hibernation.
normal, which I refuse to call the new normal. So I don't think that having enough crowd at your event will be the biggest challenge. I do think that organizing and planning and selling your tickets 8-9 months ahead. In your case, that's not very relevant, but organizing everything, ensuring your event, finding the right suppliers. A huge damage has been done to the artist side of our events, which is very important. What are you going to book? How is international travel going to look like? So all those challenges will be confronting us along the way, and I think we'll have a strange first year before we will look back at a crazy event here before we can go ahead to the old normal, as Pim said.
Yeah. This year will be a great anecdote in 10 years, right? Remember 2020?
But I think that's fine. We should accept that. For me personally, I'm willing to drink a beer. I don't mind who's playing. I'll join, I don't mind who's playing.
But, well, I think there's plenty of people that do mind who are playing. And as you were saying, there's going to be an impact on, for example, international artists and traveling, etc. Have you already, thought about that? I heard you just said, prior when we were just talking, the first edition is going to be a Dutch one, probably.
Yeah, probably, yes. Because international travel, I think, won't happen that soon, especially for artists, maybe the really. So I think, for now, for us, I think we were going to focus on a Dutch artist, and if time shows that people can travel again, of course we're going to look abroad. But you have to book in advance. So I'm not sure if the bookers are already booking. You said they are now looking at Q4. So yeah.
Yeah,
maybe
a lot of people I talk to indeed are especially in the clubs,
that's
or
too late for us. So yeah.
Yeah. How's that for you, Aziz?
We are confirming shows again from July and further on, but I've noticed that the huge tours, European tours, in our case, are being postponed till 22, simply because they can't put a tour together unless they have 30 or 40 bookings confirmed. So I think the major events will have a challenge, but in our category, I think there will be a lot of offers being made last minute, and I think travel will be possible once the vaccines are deployed, because simply those companies need the business as well. So I think that when festivals are possible, I think international travel will be as well.
Yeah, let's
Hope so.
let's very much hope so indeed. All right. Well, I don't want to go into a big cliche, but I am going to do it because that's why it's a cliche. In every crisis, there is opportunity. What's the biggest opportunity you think you can grab from this one? I don't care who says it first, but it might be a hard one.
Maybe the opportunity is that people are. I think maybe the big gain maybe is that a year without makes us see how important these kind of events are, and also maybe for government and those kinds of people making the regulations stuff. They see, okay, this is a real business. This is really something we need to invest in, and so maybe and hopefully, that will bring some more attention, more value for our business.
Yeah, that's a good answer. And how's that for you?
I'll tell you what you want to hear. I was I've been doing this for 20 years now in Rotterdam, and I was always against city funding for programming that can be achieved in a commercial way. So I always had an outspoken opinion about it. And at a certain point, when the city council approached us, basically we said, we're okay, we're a healthy company, but we have this landlord that wants to tear the whole place down and build this high rise, and we need some help with that. And basically he wants money, we don't have that right now. And then the city council said, if you were in our city funding project, we would be able to bail you out, but because you're not, we won't be able to give you any of that funding. So that was quite a shock for me. Basically, our reward for doing everything independent was that the city wasn't available to reach out. So after the crisis, I'm going to do that differently, and I'm going to have an independent nonprofit organization be responsible for a lot of the stuff that we do here in our live venue. Yeah. So that's one of the projects that we do.
Quite a structural change then, actually.
Definitely, yeah. We have to, because otherwise you'll get out of the crisis and you're standing there at the finish with your old team or new team, and I think the struggle will begin then. Do you have enough fat on your bones to program as aggressive as that you used to do, or offer the same amount of shows, have the same amount of projects? I think that the biggest challenge will arise once we are allowed to reopen again.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think this crisis really showed the cutting lines between, for example, the funded and the non-funded part of the sector. They became like extremely clear all of a sudden, and to me, it also showed that this whole infrastructure really needs to be rethought and renewed, because it's not really always a fair way of doing stuff, and I guess you just confirmed that. But that's exciting. I guess it's good times ahead then. I was also thinking, we're talking about the music sector and the industry, but we haven't really talked about music itself. Do you think, for example, your programming will change? Not necessarily only Dutch bands, but maybe go for a safer programming, or that people are looking into more adventure in their music? Or
for me, the answer is no.
I agree. I don't think a lot will change. I think that we will have a first strange year on who will be available, but I think people want to digest their genre, and all of them will be available as soon as it's allowed. I strongly believe that.
Okay. Well, due to my somewhat short notice preparations, I'm kind of out of questions, but maybe you have some famous last words to add to this conclusion. Wait.
Any opinions on the vaccination passports? But you should ask it because they can't hear.
Okay. So I just heard that there is a question came in from the live chat, and if you guys have an opinion about vaccination passports and everything around that.
Wow, yeah, there's a whole thing, of course, about privacy and all that kind of stuff. But I do think that it's good that people get vaccinated. Sorry, and because that means we can do our job as well again, and in the same way. So yeah, there's pros and cons, but I think just get yourself vaccinated, and then we can go on.
And you?
I think the discussion is going to be huge because a lot of people have an outspoken opinion on whether they should have a vaccination or not, and whether they are allowed to visit a festival or travel. And in my own personal environment, I have well-educated people that strongly believe that this is all one big hoax and that they're not getting vaccinated. Even live artists I've known for years. And what strikes me most is that I think the focus should be on respecting each other's opinion and respecting the law. And we as an organization will always make sure that our visitors are 100% safe, our staff is, our artists are. So if it's allowed to have a vaccination or a test to enter an event, then you'll just have to accept that. If you don't, then I can't help you out.
Yeah,
that's my personal opinion.
But actually, this kind of gave rise to a new question that your visitors are going to expect you to behave differently as an organization as well, I guess. Have you any thoughts about that? Because as you were saying, we ensure 100% safety for our visitors, right? You do that on several levels, but not only for virus, but also like for alcohol abuse or sexual harassment or whatever. But especially, with this pandemic, this requires different safety measures and different safety demands from your audience.
That's like I said, the new normal or the normal. That's okay. There's going to be some regulations, and we're going to operate within those regulations. And and that's going to be the thing we have to uphold. And I don't think they're gonna, apart from those regulations, they're gonna require more from us, I think.
No.
The new regulations, that is. Yeah. So to give you a heads up, we've submitted 4 different models on how an event in April or May should be allowed to get a permit. And those different models were based on whether some of the visitors have a vaccine or they don't, and get a rapid test a day before or on the event site itself, different age groups. So a few different models are being worked out now. It's all new. Nobody knows what the new regulations will be, but the event sector in Rotterdam and the rest of the Netherlands is very professional. So before you get a permit, you'll have multiple meetings, multiple regulators that will judge your submit for the permit. So I believe that once a permit is applied, it's safe for everybody to go to an event and enjoy a festival.
All right, cool. That's a good foresight. I'm gonna end this session for now. One last question: are you excited for the future?
Very.
Me too, very much.
Good. On that positive high note, we'll end this first session. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
So thank you on behalf of me as well. Also thanks to Frank in particular for making these changes and shifts, because indeed because this is obviously the Corona edition of Music Talk, a couple of cancellations, not due to Corona, but at least due to snotty noses and these kind of complaints. So we used to have Holly Dicker as a moderator, but Frank Kiem and I was happy to take her place in this moment. And we also had in the panels Claudia Raven and Emmanuel Spoor, who unfortunately couldn't join us tonight. So that's why you see something that's slightly different than announced, but still we have a full program. Part of that program is what I announced right now. So there wouldn't be any talks without music. So there's always also music part of Music Talks. And today we have with us virtually of course, in line with how we see live music these days, Luca. So she's her full name is Lisa Luca. She's a Rotterdam-based artist born in Cape Town, South Africa, and now really sort of hammering on her promising career here in Rotterdam. She released her album this October, so in the midst of this corona pandemic, which was entitled First Steps of Letting Go. Of course, she couldn't tour around this album, so listen to it through Spotify and other kind of channels. And now, specifically for you, she's going to perform the song Tiptoe. Enjoy.
Hoi allemaal. Wat fijn dat ik mag deelnemen aan dit gesprek met mijn muziek. Live vanuit mijn studiootje in Rotterdam. Helaas nog niet op een podium. Het is een hele gekke tijd waarin we leven. En ik ben heel blij dat er initiatieven zijn die op zoek gaan naar mogelijkheden door livestreams te doen of concertjes te organiseren voor een beperkt aantal mensen. Maar ik kan ook niet wachten om weer met heel veel mensen een ruimte te delen. En muziek gaat heel erg leven op het moment dat je het met mensen kan delen. En daar kijk ik wel weer heel erg naar uit. Ik ga allemaal liedjes spelen van mijn nieuwe album, die zojuist 2 maanden uit is. Tiptoed on water to see the bottom. You said go dive in it. Reading the ripples, talking in riddles. You said go ride with it. But I'm tied up to the walls, constant control. Words repeating lines out of answers. Tiptoed on water, you know I gotta explore the waves tonight. Feeling the rhythm, my feet vibrating. You said go dance to it. Oh, take me where my mind goes when I follow fireflies. Then show me how the lights glow in your eyes and mine. Leave me there with eyes closed, and I'll get you in my dreams again. Hang on to let it go, the flame of desire. We tiptoed on water to see the bottom. We pushed each other in, watching you closely like a Wes Anderson movie, swimming in symmetry. Makes me wanna hear your heart beating. Makes me blind to see, though I follow. Take me where my mind goes when I follow fireflies. Dankjewel.
Hello, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that beautiful song through a live stream, as this event is also live streamed, and that's one of the things we've been getting used to now. Unfortunately, I think to many, because we cannot have live music anymore. Our next speaker is called Femke van den Berg. She's a cultural sociologist also working at Erasmus University Rotterdam. She was doing her research on how people experience live concerts, and then for her as well, March happened, Corona happened, and she had to change everything within her research project to make a sense of what people are doing now with live music. And the one thing that they're doing now is, of course, watching a lot of live streams and participating in concerts in that way. How does that work for people? Does it give the same kind of sense of fulfillment, happiness, collective effervescence, as Femke will tell you about? We're going to find out now with our next speaker, Femke van den Berg.
Good evening, everybody. This is also probably better. Now we're ready. This is also the first time that I'm doing something live streamed. So let me just get used to it, acclimatize for a minute. Welcome. Thank you for being here online. It's great. My name is Femke, and I am going to hold the microphone really close to my mouth. So yes, as Julian very rightly pointed out, I am doing research into the live concert or the live music experience, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that today. So, last year I was looking at this concert experience for people, and I started looking at the genre Levenslied. So I really wanted to know, what do these consumers get, what do these audiences get from this cultural experience? For those who do not know what Levenslied is, which I can expect I saw also on the stream of people asking questions, that we had people from Brazil, all around the world watching. Levenslied is a music genre kind of similar to Schlager, German Schlager that is. It's popular Dutch music sung in the Dutch language, and it has a bit of a folk kind of connotation, so it has kind of inspired or influenced a little bit by traditional folk music. So I really wanted to know what these people kind of got from this experience. And what I actually found was that the music really wasn't the main reason for attending. What they really liked was actually being there together in the crowd, in these like-minded people, this gezellige atmosphere, as we say in Dutch, drinking a beer, dancing the Polonaise. And the same actually went for the artist as well. The artist really didn't have to be able to hit all those high notes. It wasn't about this musical kind of quality. It was really, again, that the artist could spur on a buzz in the crowd and kind of let everybody loosen up and let their hair down. So this is really what I found. And I think that that's something that we forget. We forget that actually a lot of concerts and music festivals actually in general really aren't only about the music, right? There's a lot of other things going on. And for example, you'd go to a concert and like a few times out of the 10, the music quality wouldn't even be that great. And it can really vary depending on where you're standing, even in an arena like this. So for example, if you're standing here, you might kind of only hear the frequency from one speaker and not the other. If you're standing here, you're going to have a thinner sound. It's going to have come through the whole audience. It's going to be bouncing off the walls. Same here, underneath a balcony like this, you're going to have the sound bouncing off the walls, bouncing off the balcony as well, and you're going to be missing the high frequencies. It also even changes in accordance with the weather and, of course, also the time of day. And this is specifically important for festivals that you also have to take into consideration. So if you really want to have the best kind of good, standardized quality music experience, you'd be far better off just putting on your headphones and listening to it in your own bedroom. So, why then do we go to live concerts? Why do we go to live festivals in general? Well, if we look from a sociological kind of perspective, one of the ways we can look at it is as a ritual, and this is also what Britt was talking about earlier. Festivals are seen as rituals. They're breaks in the everyday. There's something kind of outstanding, abnormal, and there's something really to kind of break like mundane life in a way. When we look at them like this, we can see that a lot of people, these are rare occasions where a lot of people gather together in a crowd, in also very close proximity. So you're really standing between these bodies, experiencing something together. And you're there for the same reason. You're there to see this kind of sacred or holy artist who you're all very excited to see. So you already come in with kind of ideas of like, okay, this is going to be a good night, exciting, I'm going to be close to this artist who I'm really excited to see. And this artist also has a job through the music, through the songs that you love, your favorite tracks, to kind of get you moving, get you feeling it. So you start to have these synchronized movements. So it could either be like just moving your hips, or the artist could like say clap along, or everybody put up their phone flashlights. So these are different ways that the artist creates kind of ritual activities that are kind of happening, these synchronized movements between the crowd. And this leads to a kind of a shared mood. So you become attuned to one another, you become attuned to the people around you doing similar things, and feeling also the same kind of way. And this is this buzz that we were kind of talking about also earlier. This is this buzz in the crowd of standing actually in the midst of all these people, all these bodies doing the same kind of actions, and also there for the same reason. So this focused crowd, right? And one of the sociology's greats, Emil Durkheim, called this collective effervescence. So this is really that collective feeling of being inside a gathered kind of crowd with the same focus. And from this, you get these feelings of solidarity, so intersubjectivity, right? So again, you've been at a festival for like 3 days long, you have mud on your face, and you've glitter for like 3 days ago, you've been through the wars together, it's been raining, it's been pouring, and you kind of feel a camaraderie, you feel like a tribe, right? You really feel like you're part of something bigger. And this is the solidarity you get from being at a festival, from being within these kind of crowds. And not only do you get a collective feeling, but you also get an individual feeling. So you feel good about yourself. So during the whole event, you feel good. And this also lasts a few days afterwards. You get this individual emotional energy and a confidence. So then, of course, we're getting to the sad part of the story. Mid-March last year, of course, every single gathering of all sizes, big or small, got cancelled, and concerts were unfortunately part of that. And we've heard a lot about that already, and we're going to hear some more about it also. And we also know it's a very resilient sector. We've heard a lot of positive things and how much they're working on this and how they're doing all these fantastic things to try and get this concert experience as connected to the real thing as possible. But in the beginning, at least, the main way for artists and industry professionals to connect to their fans was through live streams. So these are some Rotterdam, Amsterdam, all around Holland kind of based initiatives that started off during lockdown. All different genres of music and all different types of events, but all live streamed. So this is really what I'm going to talk about now. There's a lot of good things about live streams for audiences, as you can imagine, right? You have this personal connection, and I'm seeing also on the comments that you're leaving, even on this live stream right now, that you have this personal connection. You can actually ask the artist things. And this is John Legend. He gave this live stream, I think, about 2 weeks into the first lockdown. And what's interesting about this is like it's in his own home. So you have this behind the scenes kind of footage, this backstage look into John Legend's life. He even admits in the very beginning of the live stream that he's sitting there in his boxer shorts, and then halfway through the live stream his wife comes in and they're talking about relationship problems, how they broke up, how they got back together. So it's really this like behind the scenes footage of one of your favorite artists that you never really even get to see in a normal talk show. So this is a very kind of special occasion for that. And you get to ask him questions and maybe even request a song that he'll even play. So it's a far more personal connection also that a talk show could ever give. What you also see is that the boundaries are far littler. So what I mean by that is that it's accessible. So nearly everybody, at least young people, have an Instagram, have a Twitter, have a YouTube account, so they can watch these live streams really easily, and generally speaking also for free, so you don't have to pay for your ticket prices. So sometimes they'd ask maybe for a donation, and now you see sort of small concerts like Billie Eilish also gave one during the summer that was actually had a ticket price. This is Post Malone. He gave, I think, a live stream during the summer, a Nirvana tribute. And during this concert, 200,000 people tuned in to watch it. And this is also the capacity of a full Glastonbury festival. So you can kind of see there is no limit to the audience. Of course, that's also great. You don't have to be waiting at your computer screen, waiting for the tickets to go on sale. So you can be the first to buy the ticket and hopefully not the last because you won't get in. So the audience capacity is also limitless. And finally, of course, you can watch it from the comfort of your own home. Sit on your couch. You don't have to worry about being shoved out of the way at the concert or getting beer spilled over you or fighting for the front row. However, is it possible to experience collective effervescence online? This is a very pressing question, I think. So can we feel this feeling of being within a crowd through the virtual sphere? And this is actually the question that myself and Julian Schaap, who you saw a few moments ago, and our other colleague, Michael Bergman, asked. During this whole lockdown period, we were really asking this because we were watching live streams ourselves and wondering, can you experience these feelings of collective effervescence? And what we found was that while you can get feelings of membership, because you're there together, you're watching it together, you're seeing other people's comments scroll by, and you can see the actual figure of how many people are participating. So you feel like you're kind of part of something. But what we also see is that, unfortunately, the collective effervescence isn't really there. And this is due to the fact that the small bodily cues of the crowd, the sights, the smells, the touch of the audience, the strobe on your face, the actual bass under your feet, the excited expressions of the people around you, or the roars of enthusiasm for their favorite artists, all these things are lacking. So these things that you are needed to actually create these feelings of collective effervescence. So unfortunately, this is something that you can't get online. And now this seems like a fairly pessimistic kind of way to end this presentation. Because I know, and I'm standing here with a lot of festival organizers and people who've done their utmost hardest to make these events as enjoyable as possible for all us audiences. So I've come up with a few tips for future streaming. And these are just things to consider, right? From the audience perspective, how can we make live streaming or virtual events even, we can go a little bit further than just streaming, virtual events closer to the real thing, closer to actually gaining these feelings of collective effervescence. First of all, I want to point to the idea of the power of the audience, how important it is to actually have an actual physical audience. And of course, this isn't possible in the virtual sphere. But even TV series have acknowledged the importance of this. So say, for example, the TV series Friends, they're filmed with an actual audience, and the laughter of the audience is actually what's infective. That actually infects the crowd watching it, or the audience watching it at home then to laugh when you hear these recorded laughters. And sports events have done that this summer. So of course, sports events could also not have gathered crowds. They've actually played artificial crowd noises during football games to insinuate that kind of crowd being there, showing how important the crowd actually really is to these experiences. Okay, playing artificial crowd noises for a live stream sounds fairly gimmicky. That's not what we're going to do. But what you can maybe do is when you live stream, also show clips of past concerts. So this will also not only allow audience members to transport themselves to those experiences. Maybe they'd been there before, maybe they'd been something similar, but even looking at the enthusiastic faces of people in the crowd enjoying themselves will infect enthusiasm to the viewer. Second of all, engagement is important. Engagement and interaction with the audience, letting them also participate for some kind of means, because that also engages them and gets rid of this passive audience member who's just sitting at home on the couch. If you get them to engage somehow, that will also, I think, help in creating these feelings of collective effervescence. Choosing your platform is also important. So, for example, while Facebook and YouTube are great and you can have boundless amount of audience members, you can also feel slightly anonymous as a viewer. And this is something that I think that we need to think about, because boundaries are actually really important for the feelings of collective effervescence. You have to be able to establish who is actually a member of the group who's participating in this ritual, who's participating in this community. So if you want to create a kind of community atmosphere where collective effervescence could be created, you also have to establish boundaries. So maybe smaller, more personal kind of communities, online communities are actually handier then. So something like Discord or Twitch or some other kind of gaming platform now are also really being used, and there's definitely, I think, value to be said for that. Finally, this is also very much connected to the last point, frequency. To create these kind of community atmosphere, to create these communities where collective effervescence could be possible, you also have to make it regular so people can meet time and time again, see familiar faces, make acquaintances with people, and build new ritual interactions together, build more norms that are kind of, I suppose, normal to that group. Okay, that was my presentation. I want to thank everybody at home for watching and everybody here. I think now we're going to wait a few seconds while we get the next panel together. So just bear with us for 1 or 2 minutes and we'll be right back. Thank you very much.
So, hi everybody, welcome back. The second panel of the evening. We have two brand new guests. On my right here in the middle, we got Gerrit de Wijk of Prospect, and on my far right, and we have Frankie Dros of the Blijdorp Festival, amongst others. Welcome, guys, first of all, and second of all, collective effervescence. Opinions and thoughts, please.
Yeah. Huh? Hey, I was born in England. I don't even know what it means. I thought it was a band, Evanescence.
It is, yeah.
It is, but okay. All the joking aside, I found it a really interesting yet somewhat academic term, but it kind of embodies what we all cherish a lot, and also probably miss a lot, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the ritual part is the part we miss the most now, especially with the online events, which are nice. And I think every festival organizer is working on one or some kind of online event. But the collective evanescence is the thing we really miss.
Yeah, we'll call it CE from now on, okay?
CE, yes. CE, yes.
No, but yeah, as you were saying, obviously everybody's been pivoting towards online. And Gerrit, you actually won a prize, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that and what you won a prize for?
Yeah, well, since the day one that it happened, we've been... Oh yeah, I have to talk closer into this microphone. Okay, since day one of when it happened, we started streaming every day. That's because... for us, it's always been about the music, and we straight away were like, fuck the shit, we're not gonna go any day without giving our following, or our family, as we call it, because I never use the term fans, because we're all fans of this music, you know, to give back. And that kind of, got out of hand. Because, we did stream seriously from March till now every day.
Audio or audio?
Audio and visual. From the comfort of everybody's home in the world. We have artists from all over the world that were broadcasting from the house, from crews in Japan, to the States, to fucking South America, all of Europe. All of our artists were streaming every day, and that became a real thing. You know, like it's, of course, you don't have the vibe that you have when you're at a party together, but we do have community. So actually people are really interacting and the artists are interacting, and especially I guess in our scene or what we do, it's more personal anyway. So it was a super important thing for people, and it was keeping everybody's spirits a bit more high, you know, like, and then we, as the presentation pointed out just now, not just going, because I hate Facebook anyway, we refuse to broadcast on Facebook, because, yeah, stuff gets, I don't know, taken down for stupid reasons. Well, it's our own music anyway. So we did YouTube, but we were like, you know, we can actually push this further. And we designed our own app. So now we have a Prospect Radio app now for the last few months that broadcasts 24/7 a day. And it's got all the content of Prospect on it, like all the from the old podcast to every live show. But it's also 24 hours a day. It's just streaming sets and funny jingles, and there's a chat box in it so people can communicate through that with each other. And we have live shows every day on the app. Wow. And this gives us a sort of independence thing. While we also still use YouTube for the visual stuff, but we take that down after a week. But for the rest, in the app is literally, it's, if you're into loud, wild electronic music in all genres, this is your Spotify. And it's for free as well.
So it sounds like you accelerated like hell with this. Like it's like you done so much in such a short notice, but maybe because you were under pressure or something like that. Or
well, I'm a workaholic first of all, and I'm super passionate about what I do and about this movement. And I actually also always think that rave music gets it doesn't get taken as serious as it should be. You know, people always, you know, when it's a band, everybody's like, yeah, it's a band. Oh, it's a great singer, this and that. But, and I come from rock and roll. So I know both sides of it. You know, I started in punk bands and everything. But trust me, electronic music, well, I'm not talking about the shitty fucking terrible EDM stuff, but I'm talking about the real stuff from the heart, you know. A lot of these producers, they produce this music not because of money or fame, but because they have to. And these times you kind of like, now, this was the moment to show people, see, it's not only dance floor music, you know, it's real, and this comes from the heart, and it's super serious, and you should take it as serious as you take some fucking band I don't know, everybody's like, oh, they're so great, they're writing such passionate songs. A lot of these electronic producers also from the heart, and this was the moment to kind of prove that this music is more than just for a dance floor. There's a lot of young people for who it is so important. It's like punk rock was for me when I was a kid. That was like my savior, kind of like in life, you know. It was like that got me through everything. But for these kids, yeah, I'm old, so that's why I say kids. Okay, this is their fucking channel, you know. This is like their fucking. Fuck my parents, fuck my school, I need this, you know, and it was kind of a proof for me that this music also matters when there are no real raves, you know?
Yeah. That's a very passionate answer, Garrett.
Yeah, I'm not even finished, but
no, but I'm going to cut you off anyway.
It's going to take too long otherwise, I know, yeah, okay.
I want to ask Frankie
I want some airtime too, man.
Oh?
I know, yeah. Don't ask me for this shit, because I can go on for hours. Okay.
Duly noted. No, but Frankie, I mean, I know your festival a little bit as well, and I think if I look at the kind of the artists that you are working with, this is not your average shallow electronic music either, and you go in depth and have a really artistic approach to it as well. How is it for you?
Well, like you said, we really go in depth with the music, but I think it's not just about the music, and I think Prospect is more of a music platform where our events and festivals are maybe more about the community and have a bit more of a local vibe. So when
Not completely, because we do way more than just music, but I understand what you mean, and it's more international, of course.
Yeah. So that's the reason why we didn't like focus on new online events, but we try to divert like to a way to get those people together anyway in Rotterdam. So that's why we opened up a new bar with a big terrace. And that way we still met a lot of those people we see on the festivals on the square on Noordplein this summer. So
and did you involve music in there as well? Or?
No, that was not possible.
Was not possible.
No.
Okay. But do you have a feeling that you reached your audience with it?
Yeah, I did. I do.
Did it also evoke some sort of a collectiveness?
Yes, because I heard a lot of people that said, "Yeah, you really saved my summer. Otherwise, I would have been at home all summer. And now we had a place to go and see our friends and meet in like between the rules that were possible at different periods." So yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
we did that as well. With Prospect from I'm just gonna fucking go here. Okay, from June when they said 30 people are allowed. And everybody's like, 30 people, what the fuck? We did 30 people shows every week.
I ended up
every
at
week
one of
in
those
Warm,
shows.
seated shows. Made it like a dance, like a jazz club. Got our artists to perform special extended 4-hour sets where they got taken on a journey with like great visuals. And it was a whole different experience just to keep the music alive. And also that community part, very important. People still were able to actually witness stuff, but they had to sit down, all the corona rules. But actually, it made the focus on the music so much more important than the raving or getting fucked up part.
And was I just want to know, like the 30 people events, was that like financially viable?
Totally not, of course. No,
okay.
No, nothing I've been doing this summer is financially viable.
But you had partners like Worm, for example. For
but still, I was losing money on everything.
Yeah.
Do you think like building up a radio app and all that shit, that's super expensive. And even these seated nights, it's lucky I have an agency, so the artists playing, for me, will play for free even, while for others they will cost like a few grand, That's the way we did it. And we started first with the 4-hour sessions, and then we're like, but wait a second, if we do 2 a night, the cost will be the same, but at least you can sell 60 tickets. You know what I mean? So then we started switching that around to like 2 sets a night.
I found it pretty interesting because I've been to one, and what you were just saying as well, normally with the kind of music you represent, you go for like the sort of the cathartic experience almost, right? And this time I kind of noticed myself. I was just sitting for an hour straight watching a DJ playing really extreme music, but with a totally different attention span than I normally have when I experience this kind of music. And I found that actually a pretty interesting experience. And maybe it's not necessarily a collective experience, more of an individual one, but it's also an experience which it stuck with me for the rest of the time. And maybe that kind of bridge I was heading towards is maybe we also can develop new festival experiences from these limits we are in now. Have you ever thought about that?
No, not really. I was just thinking like this is like a little concert version of a festival, which is nice. You have like these classical music composers who do little concerts at their house. That's really cool. And maybe DJs or electronic music artists can do the same thing. And this is like popping up now and people will keep doing it.
Yeah, but of course it does not compensate for a real festival experience.
No, but just like on the side of that.
You know what it is? I always, I've got out, where a door closes, a door opens, that fucking cliche shit. Well, I believe it, but that's always been my vision. Nothing's gonna fucking stop me do what I do, even if it's like in the most small boundaries and losing money on it. I don't give a fuck, it's just, it's all about the music, and the music is so important for so many people, and also the artists. And what I really liked about this Corona period, of course, a lot sucks financially, dude, it's the worst year ever. But what I did really enjoy is that this is the year where you find out who the true artists are and who the ones are that really are in it for the wrong reason. And I see that with my guys. There's no gigs, but they're still in the studio every day, pouring their heart out in their way, because it's not because they have to, it's because they need to. And you saw that also with these 30 people shows. Then all of a sudden you don't have to like play for an hour and play all the fucking bangers to get the crowd going. No, you can take them on a fucking trip, because they're stuck in their chairs anyway. They have to sit there, and actually they have to listen. And I noticed that these nights were extra special because of that, because they're like listening in a different way. But still, I think that's amazing. I'm not even sure if I will never do that again after we're allowed to do normal things, because they were special. But of course, you can't compare it to a proper fucking warehouse rave or a festival where you can experience so many things, walking around, meeting new people. Yeah, you know, that's something you cannot compensate. Doesn't matter how hard you try, you know?
No, and Frankie, I'm gonna give you some time as well.
Yeah, I talk too much.
It's
No
okay,
problem.
man.
I like what he says.
Yeah, me too. And I'm learning. I'm learning. That's a good thing. So, Garrett, you were saying like these people have to do this, and I read an interview with you as well that you did with the university before this panel, and I think also you said like they ask you like how did you end up in this business, and you were also saying something in that vein like this is something that I have to do. You know, it's ingrained within me, and how's that drive channeling now? How are you channeling that drive at the moment?
Well, yeah, I got that from what you said. You have like two types of people. You have the people that complain, or the people that just keep on trying out new stuff and figuring a way to do what you love. And I think that we are now just figuring out all types of different stuff, like opening the bar and moving in that direction. So now I'm selling oliebollen. I don't know if you know, the English people know what it is.
Oil balls.
You know, you just keep
Oil
on
balls. Now, for anybody out there, they're amazing.
Yeah, where did you sell them?
on the Noordplein.
All right.
So there's like the final thing we could do. There's one thing left, sell oliebollen. Okay, let's do it.
Is it like a Blijdorp version of the oliebol, or do you have?
Yeah,
like
of course. Yeah, we put some little bit of alcohol in it for the visitors, and
I gotta go there.
on it.
a little bit of stout beer in it, and we decorated like the stall with lights and Christmas trees and all. You know.
Okay, where is this again?
Noordplein. You should
Noordplein.
come.
Everybody should go. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
support
go, definitely.
support the festival with buying
definitely.
Let's go
oliebol.
after this. I'll open up the kraam and
I'm totally down with it.
make a
Yeah.
few fresh one. Yeah.
But
let's go.
this is something you would, under normal circumstances, obviously never do. And
But it's amazing.
but in a way, also
Actually-
enriches your experience, I guess, right?
Yeah. Sorry. What was the question?
No, I think it's you would, under normal circumstances, never consider becoming an oliebolbakker.
No, an oilbolbakker.
But it also kind of enriches your experiences a little bit, I guess.
Yeah,
And,
of course. Yeah.
do you think, in a way, maybe we can take the oliebol as a metaphor for doing different stuff which you normally wouldn't do? Do you, sorry.
Sorry, but this guy wins the creativity award
Yeah.
by far, because I would never have come up with that. It's amazing.
Yeah, but I think everybody is looking for new ways to bak oliebol at the moment, and that can really enrich your practice. And do you think stuff that you kind of do out of necessity now will be part of your work practice in the future?
Maybe, and that's something like as he said in the first talk. Like everyone is now, well, the most people are focusing on their gems. You know, you lose the things like the weakest concept. You just throw them away. You focus on the thing that really matters, and I think that's a good thing because there was so much pre-corona. Maybe there will be a bit of a better scene afterwards. I'm not saying that if people, their business are getting bankrupt, that's a good thing, but maybe a little bit of
You weed out the herd a little bit.
That's what I mean.
Sometimes you need to do that, right?
Yeah.
What I think is interesting now that I hear you talking a little bit is that you both are very strongly connected to Rotterdam and identify with this city a lot. You like literally say it in your interviews as well. And you take it like really Rotterdam as a starting point to go outside. And you really go deeper into Rotterdam. Like, for example, this hyper-local initiative like an oliebollen stand is really hyper local, and you with your app are really like, hey, we're starting here in Rotterdam. This is Rotterdam. Come on.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really interesting. It's how do I say it? Like it's 180 degrees different direction, but it starts at the same point, and I think that shows how powerful Rotterdam also is as a music city, right?
Oh ja, niet lullen maar poetsen, toch?
Basically.
That's it. Yeah, and that's a funny contrast between our two organizations, with the same basis underneath.
Yeah, and the same attitude as well, I guess.
Yeah, I think, without sounding too chauvinistic, it is a fucking... in Rotterdam, it's always been that way. Kind of like, I know a lot of... I'm always inspired by a lot of people here that organize stuff and do... Like, this story is amazing. You know, the oliebollen thing. Like, really, like, I would have never come up with that. But actually, it's a great concept. And you can... Yeah, that proves that, you know, you can always adapt, you know, if you just have the right drive and just want to go for it. And talking about that, yeah, it weeds out the herd. Because if you're only going to survive this if your heart is really in it. That's a fact, you know. And I think, of course, you know, you want everybody to be good, so you don't want anybody to go bankrupt or lose their companies. That all fucking sucks. But I do believe that the people that are really in it, like, passionately, and not only for the money part, they usually come up with the most interesting stuff, and they're the ones that will keep doing it, because I think we both have the same. It's just in your fucking DNA. You have to do it. You cannot not do this. It's like the idea of that. You know, I make that joke a lot. I said I'd rather give 100 hand jobs behind Central Station to keep this thing alive than quit.
Okay.
That's a pretty harsh statement, trust me.
I draw the line somewhere. But
he's got oliebollen, so it's a different thing.
You throw it at 50? Or?
Yeah, you draw it at 50, yeah.
50 is still a lot, man.
Okay. We got 5 more minutes left. I want to switch from hand jobs to something a little bit more serious.
Hand job's still a job, eh?
That's true. That's true. But does it pay the bills? No. Money is an issue, obviously. I mean, you said everything I do costs money, and there is. I think it's really great that you invest at this moment, but your investments have limits, and I guess that goes for you as well. You started a bar. Also in times that bars are not even making that much money. Now you're making oliebollen. You do the app and some or the live streaming and some shows. How do you survive financially at the moment? And also looking into the future, is there going to be changes in your business model?
Personally, I think I'm lucky that, you know, I was used to living on not a very big budget. I mean, if you are used to getting like 5,000 euro a month and you have 2 kids and a car and a big house, and then you suddenly need to live out of 1,000 or 1,500 euro, you have a big problem. But for me, because I was like starting to make some money, I was not used to it. So I just can, you know, hold it on a little bit longer. And yeah, we have some good like... what do you call it, like the TVL and the TOZO stuff in the Netherlands. So that's really well arranged, I think.
Like the support programs.
The support measures. So yeah, that's how I survived.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, the same. I have no... You know what it is? I could live easily just from my gigs. And for the rest, the labels and the agency, I was actually pumping everything back into the company. So, like... you know, in that way, I think we're alike. You know, I can live from quite a small amount of money. Like, you know, I'm not a big spender. I don't have a massive house or a car. I still ride a bicycle. You know, that does help. Stuff like that, you know. And of course, there was...
Live on a diet of oliebollen also is cheap and it helps.
And it's vegan, right?
Vegan,
yeah,
for sure.
So totally down with that. I'm getting oliebollen. No, but that does help, of course. You know, if you're... Yeah, that's why I think like even like the IDNTs in that have more problems than us maybe, because they have like 100 people personnel working there, you know, like costs per month that are insane. Well, yeah, I just have a little fucking cheap office And I bought a house 14 years ago in the right time in Blijdorp that's now worth 3 times that amount. You know, but for the rest, like it's like my costs are super low.
So
That's the
you're
only
both
way to
lean and
survive.
mean.
What?
You're lean and mean, basically, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. That's the
But
way.
what I was trying to figure out is also if you are developing new business models with what you are doing at the moment, and are these business models you will take with you into the future. For example, the app you were just saying. Is there a monetization?
Yeah, totally.
to it?
The app is for free, but you can get a premium subscription for $2.99 a month. You know, because you get it through the Play Store or the Apple Store. And the premium subscription opens up, unlocks like discounts on in our web shop on releases or on merch, because that's something we do still 2 or 3 vinyls a month, you know. And but there's also in the shout box, for instance, in the comment box, people can give tips, you know, when they love a show, and they actually do it. You know, so like you'll have like, oh, this is great, and I love you guys. I've had people sending me, which was a problem with my accountant, by the way, just sending me random like 50 euros on my PayPal. Thanks for all you're doing. I'm like, okay, how am I gonna declare this shit? But you know, like people want to support. A lot of the people want to support you if they know you're genuine and they see, man, these guys are doing this for us. You know?
So yeah, there is the collectiveness again.
And the app's going to stay, of course, because it's really, that's going to grow, and that stays on the phone of all these people, because it is for them. They're kind of like Spotify, where and it's got history, because everything that happens stays on the app. You know. So.
And you, Frankie, are you going to stick around baking oliebollen in the season and with your bar?
Definitely, maybe sell some Christmas trees as well while we're at it. But
yeah, that's great. This guy.
But actually the bar thing is working out pretty well. So we are like looking at another place right now somewhere in the city. And actually we're getting some news about that next week, which is another big project. So we are just like kind of moving into a new direction. And I really hope that this summer, the summer of 21, will be the summer of club nights and festivals again. Yeah. So then we'll just start that up immediately. We have everything, you know, on the shelf, laying ready to go. But meanwhile, we're just working on some new stuff to see. But
you're able to build this on the community that you created in these last few years or the last decades. For
what he's doing, he's actually keeping his community together.
No.
And that, in the end, I think, once things are allowed again, which will happen, of course, you've still got your community. You don't have to start from scratch. These people, and probably a lot of them, you know, people now finally, even more than ever, see what they're missing and see how important certain things are for them. You know, once you've lost it, you find out what's gone, you know? Mm-hmm. And if you keep providing for your community in any way, I mean, this oliebollen thing, it's driving me nuts in my head already. Yeah, you're not losing them. They're still there. They're still there. And actually, I've noticed myself, we've only even been building crowd. You know, we've been building our bases. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. It's great to see so much positive energy pointing forwards with the both of you. And I think I just got the cue that we have to end this session. But do we have questions from the audience or none? Then I think it's pretty much clear that once you open up your stand, when is it open?
It's open every day, 12 till 7.
Let's
go buy a shit ton of
oliebollen at this guy to keep the festivals alive as well, and and get the app if you're into hardstyle and other.
What the fuck?
Hardcore
Hardstyle?
Hardcore. Sorry,
this guy. Hardstyle. No, it's hardcore. It's breakcore, drum and bass, industrial techno, jungle, but not fucking hardstyle. Okay.
I stand corrected, Garrett. I'm sorry, but
fucking
anyways,
hurt.
get the app. Thanks.
So on that bombshell, we've almost reached the end of this Music Talks event, because we have 2 more songs of our in-house artist, or our in her own house artist, Luca, after this. But first, I just want to thank everyone. So thanks to Frankie Menai for moderating this. Thanks to all our guests. So that's Frankie, Pim, Aziz, Garrett, of course, Brit, Femke. Am I missing one? Pim. Yeah, I think I got them all. I also want to thank the operator, Rotterdam radio crew, for arranging this. Jeff and Jorn in particular. Roodkapje for hosting us here. Lara in particular. Then for the support by our school, Erasmus School of History, Culture and Communication. By the Rotterdam Popunie, of course. And by Erasmus Studium Generale. And the event was actually paid for by the Festiversity's grant that Brit's research is on. So I think I got the whole list now. So without further ado, let's go back to Luca, who will perform 2 more songs for you. And I look forward to seeing you at a music event, like at an actual music talks event with people and audiences in the future. Thanks for tuning in.
Het volgende liedje dat ik ga spelen schreef ik een aantal jaar geleden. In een tijd dat ik stil stond en heel veel rust moest nemen om weer verder te kunnen gaan. En we zitten nu eigenlijk ook wel in een situatie waarbij we vanuit stilstand opnieuw richting moeten bepalen. En wanneer er ruimte is voor stilte, ontstaat er ook weer beweging. Alleen moet je daar eerst volledig voor komen te liggen. It's been a long time coming. The wind has settled down. No more misty mountains and no more sound. I'm leaving this ground. 'Cause I'm just a shining star up in the sky, waiting to leave this night. And all the roads we know by now, and the skies that we have seen are close to floating, roaming, tumbling down. Ooh, so now I'm just a falling snowflake melting on your skin. And I feel like a howling wind on a hot summer day, craving to breathe in a oh. Dankjewel. Ik ga nog 1 liedje spelen. Super bedankt voor het luisteren en kijken. En hopelijk tot in het echt de volgende keer. Underwater is where I meet you first. I can't do the shallow shores with small talk on the surface. No, throw yourself overboard. Swim in my headlights. 'Cause we are all with a song to play for every single one. Underwater, ooh, is where I see you crystal clear, curling like a whirlwind wave, and I can hear what you're meaning to say. Are you a secret station through echolocation? Oh, throw yourself overboard. Swim in my headlights. 'Cause we are all with a song to play for every single one. But don't keep the cotton curtains closed for the light that shines the most. Don't keep the cotton curtains closed for the light that shines the most. No, don't keep the cotton curtains closed. Oh, for the light that shines the most. Don't keep the cotton curtains closed. Oh, for the light that shines the most. Oh, under the water. Under the water. Underwater. Ooh, under the water. Underwater. Underwater. Ooh, underwater. The water, the water, the water, the water. Dankjewel.